Well, good morning. It's about, I don't know, 4:45 in the morning, and I just hit the button on Grumpy to get him to wake up. So I guess it's time to start a new day. Let's get ourselves a little bit of coffee. Get going on that, and tell you a little bit about what we got going on here. I'll show you a little bit about what we got hooked up in the battery room and what the next steps are for us as far as getting some of the configuration of all the solar out here. Coffee sounds good. That little way. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to talk about politics. So I think you might have had a little bit of that already over the last months. You get that on there right? Yep. Little reusable, allow you to just take and dump in a little bit of coffee. And one of the things that we like out here is this vacuum canister. You can hear it. Really does maintain the freshness of the Frying Pan Tower signature blend coffee. Let's quit talking. Let's start making some coffee. Let's close that up. Grab a cup. Get some of that going. My Oklahoma mug. I know it came from Star something or another, but I don't care. I like the mug. Get a little bit of this in there. So we've got our 8 guys out here still. And I would really like for us to be able to get everybody home. Thank God they all were able to do the early voting. Important little detail. And the real concern we have is that we are running out of food. I planned on enough food for these big old guys that, well, they're big. They're strong and they're hungry. And the fish aren't biting. When the fish aren't biting, which is very unusual, then you have to kind of make do. We still have peanut butter and jelly, but we may have to make our own bread. I think we're down to 1 loaf left. So I'm hoping by the end of day today, we'll have a better forecast for tomorrow. So we can get our butts off of here. I want to go see my sweetie, you know. We've actually gotten into some of the beef jerky that we had stored away, so we're not going to starve, but I don't want them to get hangry. Let me take you into the battery room. It's a bit of a mess, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Thank you, Grumpy. Good coffee. Well, that's very good. Do a quick glance and see what. Yeah, we're down to 13, 14 knots. Temperatures are still a little warmer. Water temperature is still like 79. Computer, turn on the rec room lights. Did I get that right? I'll find out. Oh. Computer, turn on the lights. Give me a couple more. There we go. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. More better. So we played a little bit of pool last night, and that was a lot of fun. I actually was making my shots, which is very unusual. Let's check it out. You can see all the green lights from the EG4 LLs. They're really, really good lithium batteries. You can see each one of them, 5,120 watts. That is a lot of watt hours. I don't have it all cleaned up and I don't have it finalized, but we do have 2 of the strings coming in. I know that's not properly wired, but I haven't connected until I can get all the right materials to put these in the proper casings to keep them safe. And there's no sunlight at all at 420. When there is, we get a nice readout of how the sun's coming in, going into the photovoltaic, hitting the systems, charging the batteries. We're still at 52.3 volts on our 48 volt system, and so that's actually pretty good. let's step into the workshop area. I'll show you, if we're stuck here, what the next day is going to be. When we had the solar panels on the helipad, actually on the north side, we had them mounted on rails, which of course suffered a little bit from rusting and the salt elements. So we were able to get those off of here. These are really heavy duty, 10-foot long angle iron rails. You need to get those carried back up there, determine the spacing because it's slightly different for the new solar panels, and get it mounted on there. The new layout of the workshop without any interior walls has made it so we really are able to move around and get a lot done. And we're surviving pretty well on diesel, about looking at 100 gallons, and on gasoline, we're about 130 gallons left of that. The sooner we can get all the solar hooked up, the less we are dependent on fossil fuels. So I'm going to try and mount on the walls also the Quattro inverters. Won't be able to get those wired in, but I should be able to get them hooked up. Let's step back into the front here. So today, I'm sure these guys will be eager to get their butts home. I do understand that. I think I feel the same. It's different being out here multiple times, and since I have been, I'm quite used to the fact that sometimes the weather just doesn't do what it's been forecast to do. There's a lot of things that don't turn out the way people think they're going to. Oh. You may be asking, why am I up at 4:45 in the morning? You know, part of that is, in my case, I just wake up and feel ready to take on the world. But it's also that if I'm going to do any work on any of the solar system, I want to do it while there's no sunlight on it, because that way it's not energized and it's not charged. When it's fully functional and hooked up, we have about almost 400 volts. Now, you have 120 volts in your outlets, 400 volts. And that's a whole lot of pop. And I brushed a wire with my elbow yesterday, and even though I just barely brushed it, I will tell you, it made you wake up. So a lot of caution when working with any of this stuff is a good idea. So let's talk about things that matter. It's not what you think. In about a week and a half, my sweetie Nancy and I are going to jump on a plane and fly out to Oklahoma and see my dad, who's 91. My dad's getting a little bit feeble. He's getting a little bit frail. Well, he's getting a lot frail. When my dad was in his 80s, he'd throw a bag of cattle feed, 50-pound bag, over his shoulder, walk out and split it and dump it into the feed troughs. When he's in his 70s, he'd throw 2 bags over his shoulders. My father was always very strong, and now he's quite frail. When I give him a hug, I can feel the bones in his shoulder. And he works hard to try and keep his body mass up there. But he's 91, and everyone has a certain amount of days and time that they walk this earth. Well, he's having trouble walking this earth. So I think my brothers have convinced him that it's time to use a walker, and that it might be time to go ahead and move into some assisted living. Now, you can imagine how hard that would be as if you had a place that you had built and lived in since 1960. It would be tough. Where you raised your family, where you have all these memories and comfort. It's tough to change. But like I tell my kids, it's not that change doesn't happen, it's how you deal with the change that happens. We just watched a huge amount of money being spent attempting to put in this change or that change on a national, worldwide stage. Just think if we had some of that money instead going to fix a bridge or repair a road. And I know that was donated money, but I wouldn't mind $1 million of those dollars to fix this place. You know, we do get small donations every once in a while. $5, $10, $15. And I will tell you, it does help. And I do these videos to tell you what's going on. And also because if I do them well, then people watch them, then advertisers advertise, and I might get $1 or $2 off of that. It's certainly not enough to stop my day job. This is my day job. It's my night job too, apparently, since I'm up in the middle of the night. You got that cup of coffee yet? Got a little bit of sinus going on right now. It's just stuffy because of some of the dust that we've been around. Well, we've been cutting and grinding and working on things. And yeah, we do use N95 mask and everything, but I might have missed it a little bit. So, who knows, I could be crazy. Go back to bed for a while, if I could sleep. Already made the bed. So today we'll try and take some of the things that we pulled out of that battery room and put it on some shelves that we moved into one of the storage closets. We'll see if we can get some of that steel up on the top, and who knows, if it's nice enough, we might be able to get 9 more solar panels hanging up there. That would be really good. And couldn't plug them in yet. We're out of the special kind of braided wire. It's household cabling and wiring is usually a solid core, 14 or 16, not 16, 14 or 12 gauge. That has to do with the thickness of the wire. I know you don't care. We need a 10 gauge braided wire for the solar panels. It seems to work best. And I think we just used up the last of a spool that just happened to be sitting out here on the shelf, probably from the 80s. How's that for crazy? And to get that wire, that'll probably cost us now hundreds of dollars. But that will allow us to wire in additional solar panel banks as we work our way to complete solar functioning in the middle of winter. Now, we're not trying to get rid of the generators. We're just trying to make it so that we can use what normally happens every day, and that is sunlight. We do have some wind that we're going to hook up a couple small little wind turbines. We're talking ones about 3-4 feet in diameter at the most, and see whether or not we can get some juice off of those. But that's more just doing some experiments with those. So, well, why don't we all get back to normal, and let's start working together as a nation. I think that when my brother and I've got 4 brothers, when one of my brothers and I get upset with each other, I'm very conservative and he's very liberal. But when we get upset with each other, we very, very seldom argue. When we do, almost immediately we both regret arguing with each other. I love my brother dearly, and he loves me. And I'm so grateful for my time. He's actually a couple years older than me. My older brother will be upset today because it didn't turn out the way he wanted. And I hope that we can work together across the aisle, as they say. I know that whether or not we agree on things or not, we agree that we love each other and we want to be there for each other, take care of each other. He's an old guy and he's a single guy. I do love my brother. All of them, all 4 of them. So today, as you go about your day, do me a favor. Today especially, be nice to somebody you do not like. Messes with their head, and it lets them know that, yeah, somebody cares. Reach out to those that you love. And especially if you've not reached out to them in a while. That old person that's sitting in a home. And that cousin, brother, uncle that you just adore but don't really think about it. Don't let yourself get that phone call that it's time to go to a funeral. And don't let them guess whether or not you care or not. Tell them. Write them a note. And do me a favor, drink some really good coffee. Like the Frying Pan Tower's signature blend. From black powder. Man, that's good. That's good coffee. It's good to wake up to. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. Right around the corner. Thanksgiving. Then, time to celebrate being together. See ya.